Hi, it's Simon here. Predictable Success is the name of a new book by Les McEwen, an author from the United States, and he's used social media to promote it. So I thought I would get hold of him and ask him a couple of questions. One being about the book itself. How can you have predictable success in a really unpredictable world? And the other one being just what's his experience as a self-proclaimed very, very old person using social media to promote himself. So here's Les. How is predictable success possible in an unpredictable world?
Well, it's not. The title of the book is just a cheap marketing attempt by me to make people assume that there is. Now, I make the point, Simon, pretty early on that what I'm talking about with predictable success are controlling the controllables. And that we're really looking at most of the internal stuff that an organization can work with, that there's nothing that can prevent, for example, geographical disaster. You've probably heard over here we've got this massive BP leak, and the shrimp industry is going to be hammered. So somebody who read my book a week ago is not going to fix that problem. But what it does do, I believe, and what I've seen over the years, is that organizations that get themselves into predictable success are the ones that are much more agile, much more flexible, much more able to respond to catastrophic and unpredictable external events. It doesn't make them immune to it, but it makes them able to respond an awful lot better.
Have you noticed a shift away from the long-term, very specific visionary stuff through to more of a vision about who we are and what how we do things as a company?
Well, it depends where you fish, Simon. I think one of the things that I've noticed is that if you spend a lot of time online or you spend a lot of time networking, then you would think that the answer is yes, because you tend to build a Twitter stream and a Facebook stream that echoes the things that one would like to see happen. And the concept of the non-monolithic visionary leadership model being substituted with a more personally inspirational leadership model, certainly something that I would encourage and I try to help people do. So I tend to get a lot of input from people who promote that type of activity. Here's the reality, though. I spend 80% of my time out there working with companies that make hard stuff, right, and ship things around and employ hundreds and thousands of people. And the reality is that growth, while it's happening, is very small. The vast bulk of people out there are managing, they're not leading at all. The vast bulk of people who are leading are doing it relatively ineptly. And of the people who are doing it aptly, a very small percentage of them are people who would have what you might call that micro intrapersonal leadership style. Most people who reach leadership positions in industry for historic reasons have got that more monolithic, chiseled chin, lead them as a group macro leadership style. So I think the answer is yes, it's happening, but it's not happening as much as we might think it is when we listen to each other on the interwebs.
Yes, in the bubble, yeah. As an author and somebody who's building a community around your book, how have you found social media compared to sort of any previous books that you've written?
It's intriguing. I'm intrigued with it intellectually. I'm not. I struggle with it personally. I'm one of a breed of people who are in a business that calls for being extroverted, but I'm personally an introvert, and therefore the concept of socialization in general is one that I completely understand, and I learned some decades ago to master it, but I mastered it as a skill, much as I mastered, a handwriting or whatever. So one of the things I like about social media is that it does allow me to meet with very smart people like yourself, but to do it much more on my own terms. We're not stuck at a conference and you're probably the nicest guy in the world, but I don't have to sit beside you all afternoon now, and we don't, you're not going to ask me to dinner, and I'm not going to have to say, no, we can do this, or we can tweet later. The asynchronous nature of it, I like a lot. So I'm enjoying it. I've met a lot of really good friends, which I didn't think was possible. I'm one of those people who, up to 3 to 4 years ago, said, I will never have a Twitter account. I don't want to know what people had for lunch. Today, I'm just looking up over your shoulder. My Twitter feed happens to be up. I've put out, 30 tweets or something today, and I enjoy it very much. So it's new to me. It's here to stay. The vehicles will change, but one of the things that I constantly preach to other leaders is that you've got to embrace change. There's absolutely no point trying to do the King Canute thing and saying I'm not going to go with this. So I'm both feet in there. I try most things, and I'm still trying to work out the business to business total response to social media. Yeah. I think the business to consumer side of things I understand, I get. The consumer to consumer stuff I get, and the disinterested observer to disinterested observer I get, but business to business I'm not quite sure I've worked that out yet.
Right, okay. And you've got you're across YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter in the back of the book. So is it quite early days for the book so far as building a community around those areas?
Sure, it is. I'm not trying to build a community. I need to make that clear.
Okay.
I'll be blunt and say that the social media links these days, I believe, are in essence a hygiene factor, Simon. I think if I wasn't to provide those, it wouldn't alienate in a positive sense anybody, I think. Well, maybe it would, but there would be a subconscious little orange light that would come on for people your age, your generation, and younger. And so I wanted to not have that as a barrier, so I put them up for that. And I've been surprised as a result by the fact that, a small community is building around the book, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm not against it, and I'm happy for it to happen. Yeah. I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with the concept of tribes. People email me these days and ask me, can I put something out to my people? I don't have any people, I've got 2 dogs that lie right here, and they're my people. But I'm happy to build, to provide the environment and to build interaction between people. I'm very happy to do that.
Great, yeah. That's a really good point about your people, because I think what you were saying before with social media, it's asynchronous, and there's a lot less, perhaps, clarity around whether people are my people or just people I know. So you can have a wide reach, but maybe it's not as tightly knit as it would be offline, I suppose.
Right, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a different granularity, and it's a different metric. You go look at David Allen's Twitter stream. He's got 1.4 million people following him on Twitter. Well, I don't know what that means. I know it's a very large figure. I don't know how that translates into the equivalent of, is one Twitter follower, is 100 Twitter followers equal one Facebook follower? Do 10,000 Twitter followers equal, have they got the same weight as a client? I don't know. It's just a thing that's there, and I think we're all finding out what it means.
Definitely, yeah. Thanks very much for your time, Les.
Oh, well, thank you for starting your day with me, and if I can help in any way at all, don't hesitate to get in touch.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, Les.
Thank you, Simon.
Catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Les. So some interesting thoughts there about introversion and how social media can open up new possibilities if you don't happen to be a big extrovert, which I think a lot of us on social media aren't. So what are your thoughts? What's been your experience? How has it sort of opened up new things for you? Love to hear from you in the comments below. This video is brought to you by Sci Social Media Consultancy. Find out what we do at sciengage.com, and find out what's happening in social media in New Zealand and all around the world at iJump.co.nz. See you later.
At the third stroke, the time will be 12:34. and 20 seconds.